Hey everyone, my name is Anna, also known as the Plumbing Princess. I just got off of work and I decided to do just a quick video. I wanted to make a video about all of the tools that an apprentice would need before becoming a plumbing apprentice, if that makes any sense. So I'm just here in my car outside. Like I said, I just got home from work and I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. Tool number one, a good pair of boots. You want a good pair of boots if you want to be a plumbing apprentice or if you want to just be in construction in general. When I first started, I bought a pair of $30 Walmart boots. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they lasted for about like 4 to 5 months, but my feet were thrashed. I had blisters and sores and all sorts of things on my feet. Also, I have a neighbor that's on the phone that's pretty loud, so I'm sorry if you hear that talking in the background. Anyways, a good pair of boots, tool number one, probably one of your most important buys. Do not buy a cheap pair of boots. You might be able to get away with it, but they will thrash your feet if you do not have a good pair of boots, I promise you. Tool number two, knee pads. Don't think for a second that you will be able to get away with being in the plumbing field without a good pair of knee pads. You only have one set of knees. Protect them. Get a decent pair of knee pads. I got these at Walmart for like 20 bucks, I think, but Rigid makes an even better pair that eventually once these get really thrashed, I'm gonna go ahead and replace them. They're pretty much the same thing, but I mean, Rigid brand, they're a little bit softer, whatever. The third tool that you are going to need as an apprentice are gloves. You probably got all excited, I have all these wrenches. No, the third tool that you're gonna need as an apprentice is gloves, basically. These are small gloves. I bought them specifically for my sized hands off of Amazon, but really just, you know, get yourself some gloves. I think this whole package was like, I don't know, 15 bucks off of Amazon. It came with like 20 something pairs. Get yourself gloves, and then you're also gonna need digging gloves. So a old coworker of mine gave these to me, these Milwaukee digging gloves. I really like them. They're real durable, real sturdy. Otherwise, you can just get like your standard like industrial digging gloves at Home Depot. These are probably more gardening style gloves, but they still work. These are my backups, so good pairs of gloves. The next tool that's very important that you are going to want as a plumbing apprentice to get started is a torch. This is a torch that my dad got me. If you don't know what this torch is, I recently posted a little video about it on my Instagram. But you are going to want a torch. You're going to be learning how to solder, and so you're going to need one. You can't borrow this from somebody. It's not that simple. This torch in particular is like $120. Like I said, it was a gift. The torch that I started out with is in here, right here. What is this? I don't know what brand this is. Burnzomat? I'm not sure. But this is a good little starter torch. You can find these at Home Depot, or you know, your tool supply store. Not sure how much these are, but don't get yourself a cheapy little torch. If it's like $30 from Home Depot, you don't want that. You want to spend at least $60, if not more, on a decent torch, because crappy torches like that, they don't put out as much heat, and it's not going to melt the solder. It's not going to heat up the pipe hot enough for you to get the solder melted. Just get yourself a somewhat decent torch to start out with, and then go ahead and upgrade when you have the funds to do so. My next tool that I would recommend is a pair of copper cutters. These are a pair of Rigid copper cutters. They cut up, believe, up to like 1.5 inches. Maybe 1.25 inches, I can't remember. But yeah, these are great copper cutters. And then also get yourself, let's see here, like a pair of close quarter copper cutters as well. Can't go wrong with having a smaller pair as well. Just those two to get you started. I know I have a lot of crap in this box. I'll go over that another day. But as far as soldering tools, you want to definitely get yourself good torch and copper cutters. These other sorts of things, you know, companies normally provide you with: solder, flux, brushes, things like that. These are little things that you can just pick up along the way. They're not expensive. I'm just going over the tools that you're going to want to start out with 100% for sure going into it. So since we're already here, the next tool that I would recommend would be pipe wrenches. These pipe wrenches, actually somebody bought them for me. They're not that great, but they've gotten the job done. As you can see, I've used them a little bit for sure. These are 14 inches. Definitely good to start out with. They are pipe wrenches that are literally up to like, God, feet long, feet, like, I don't know what would be the biggest pipe wrench I've ever seen, like maybe like 4 feet, 5 feet. I'm sure that there's 6 feet ones. You don't need any that big unless you're working with some big ass pipe. Otherwise, 14-inch pipe wrenches. Don't get the Huskies, get yourself rigid. One thing that I wanted to mention is, you know, if you buy cheap, you buy twice, honestly. Like, get yourself a good pair of pipe wrenches. I promise you, like, you will regret it, because if you don't, they'll slip on the pipe, they'll hurt you, you'll get stucco knuckles, and it won't be a good time. So get yourself a good pair of pipe wrenches. These are not the best example, these are just what I have right now. Get yourself a good pair. Also, you're gonna want 2 of them. I wouldn't get, you know, just one. I would get 2 pairs, just to have 2 pairs. When you use them, you're gonna need 2 of them. Getting one isn't gonna cut it. All right, moving on. The next tool that you're gonna want is a tool bucket or a tool box or a tool organizer. There's all sorts of different tool organizing things, stuff, etc. out there. There's boxes, there's carrying bags, there's organizers, there's things like that. Find what works for you. This is kind of how my dad taught me. My dad is an old school plumber. He uses a bucket, and he puts a tool organizer on it, and that's where he puts his tools. A lot of the guys that I work with, they have carrying bags, like tool bags, and that works for them, and that's great. I prefer my bucket, just like my dad does, simply because, I mean, you have everything that you need in here. It has a great carrying capacity. You can put quite a bit on it, and it's not so cumbersome that it's really in the way of anything, and you know, it's durable, it's cheap. I would just go for it. I got this one at Lowe's, I think for like 10 bucks, and it's been great. It hasn't poked any, you know, gotten any holes poked in it or anything. This has been a good one. I would not recommend getting the one from Harbor Freight if you are in the vicinity of a Harbor Freight. I just honestly wouldn't do that. Get yourself a good one. Better ones than this, I mean, they can run up to $60-$70. You don't probably need to spend that much money up front as a new apprentice or as a new person in the trades. Like I said, this was $10 and it's been working great for me. And they sell them at Lowe's as far as I'm aware. The next tool that you are going to want to have, honestly not even want to have, you're going to need is a tape measure. I had a DeWalt tape measure that was a piece of crap. I decided to get the Milwaukee one, and I really like this one. It's sturdy, and it works great. I got the auto lock simply because since I've been learning, it's been kind of hard to like keep the tape measure out and like hold the pipe and stuff without it like just going back in without me wanting it to and things like that. So I got the auto lock. Not everybody likes these. Get yourself a good tape measure. Maybe a 25 footer would be good. I just picked this up and I didn't even like think about how many feet it was, but yeah, so far this has been good. I haven't really needed to use it longer than 16 feet. Get yourself a tape measure. All right, next tool on the list that is extremely important that you will definitely need, you're going to use every single day, is a level. I have this thing in my back pocket at all times. Put your initials on everything, all of your tools, so that way if they get stolen or if they get misplaced on the job site, people can find you. Get yourself a level. This is a, let's see here, an Empire bullet. You want yourself a torpedo level. You want one small. When I first started, like when I first was getting my main tools, I got this one, and there's nothing wrong with this one. It's just, it's long and it's cumbersome and doesn't fit in the back of your pocket very well. Get yourself a smaller level than that. Get one that has magnets on it, because you we'll have instances where you are working with material that is magnetic. It's just really easy to go ahead and pop that on, level out what you're going to do, install it, and go ahead and just pop it right off, put it back in your pocket. But like I said, you're going to use this, you're going to use it all the time along with your tape measure. Always have both of those things on you 100% of the time on the job. Next tools that you're going to need is an Apprentice, screwdrivers, both flathead screwdrivers and Phillips as well. I have just like a little arrangement here, a little set. Let's see here. I do have two little itty bitty ones. I'm not sure where the flathead itty bitty one is for that, but you could get these at Lowe's or Home Depot. I think I got these ones at Home Depot specifically. I prefer Home Depot over Lowe's. These have been great. I've used them for quite a bit, quite a lot. This one's a little more beat up, but it's held up pretty well despite it like being plastic and stuff. Like, they're pretty great, and it was not expensive. You're gonna definitely want them on your bucket. The next tool that you're going to want is a good set of Allen wrenches. These guys are great. They're super handy. I've used them quite a handful of times on the job. It's not an everyday thing, but you know, when you need them and you don't have them, it really sucks. Kind of like bobby pins. I'm sure the girls watching this will understand what I mean. Or maybe for the guys, like not having your wallet when you need it. Maybe that's not a good analogy. I don't know. I'm not a guy. I got a set at Lowe's. I'm sorry, at Home Depot. I just like have Lowe's stuck in my head now for some reason. I got a set and it came with both the metric and the standard as well. The SAE and then the metric as well. Sometimes I use the metric, honestly. Sometimes I do. Not a lot, but I do. It was good to, you know, get the pair and stuff. So Allen wrenches. Next tools that you're going to want as an apprentice and you will use often are these ratchet wrenches. I'm pretty sure that that's what they're called. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. When I went to Home Depot and I got these, I kind of just got like a whole entire just like arrangement, and I barely have used most of these. I think that there's only like one size that I use more than the others, but it's just good to have. Let's see here. I got 9/16, 9 millimeters, half. I don't even know what that means. 11 millimeters. Anyways, so I got kind of a little bit of an arrangement here, but yeah, you're definitely going to want a couple pairs of these in a couple different sizes just to accommodate for the different size nuts that you would be tightening down. Tool that you are going to want to put in your tool bag, bucket, carrier, whatever, is a hammer. When you get a hammer, make sure that you get one that has like a nice long straight set of teeth on it. I got a 20 ounce just because that's all they had at the time when I was going to buy this. A 16 ounce would probably do just fine as well. You don't need a handle that's super long unless you prefer that. Overall, this has been a super awesome hammer. Good job, Husky, on making these, and they're very affordable. The hammer that I would not recommend would be something like this. I mean, this hammer is okay, but you know, again, it was 16 ounce, decent size handle, but the issue is that the teeth are way too curved and it makes it really difficult if you need to use your hammer to dig anything out. It's too curved. Don't get a hammer like this. Get a hammer that has nice straight teeth that you can use, because you will be using your hammer to dig. Right, next tool's incredibly important. You need to have these. That is not optional. Adjustable wrenches. These are the Crescent brand. OG, shout out to Crescent. I have two 10-inch pairs, and then I have one 12-inch pair. I mean, I can't think of how many times I've used these. You will need them for sure. They're great. I mean, these are the classics. There's 100 million reasons why you need to have these in your bag. You're just going to use them. Guaranteed you will use them. You're going to want, again, two pairs. I got 2 pairs of 10 inches. I'm going to want to eventually get another pair of the 14, but so far it's been okay. I really just use this one for leverage just because I'm small. I'm not as strong, so I need tools that have longer handles. They're a little bigger, so then that way I can get the leverage on it that I need. But Crescent wrenches, I mean, they're awesome. You're going to need these in your bag. All right, the next tools that you will need, again, like not optional whatsoever, 100% not optional, are channel locks. Now, when I first started out, I got these. These were my first pair of channel locks. These are 10 inches. Let's see here, the 430. These are the 430. I think these are 10 inches. My dad tried to argue with me and say I'm never going to use these, I'm never going to need them. But what's really funny is I probably use these more than I use my other pairs of channel locks. They're kind of that perfect size, at least that I have found, that gets into all sorts of spaces without it being too cumbersome, but I still get enough leverage to tighten down what I need to tighten down with them. So these are great, but you do not need this size. If you are gonna just get the bare necessities, this is what you're gonna want. You're gonna want a pair of 2 12 inches, so you're gonna want 2 pairs of 440s and 2 pairs of the tiny boys, or what I like to call them, 426s. So you got your big chonkers and then you got your little tiny boys. 2 pairs of each. You can't just get away with 1 pair, you need 2 pairs of each. All right, the next tools that I would recommend throwing in your bag that are not expensive are PEX cutters. So I have my smaller guys right here, and then I have these guys as well. I would say that these are considered more PEX cutters, whereas these are like tubing cutters. Honestly, I think that they pretty much do the same thing. It's just that these are chunky. These are my chunky boys. And they're great. Yeah, you just want to get a pair of these. I didn't have these at first. I'm just throwing them into this list because I found that I did end up needing them a lot more often than I thought that I would need them. So I would say definitely throw these in your bag if you're starting out as an apprentice. All right, next tool that you're absolutely going to want to have. You could probably get away with not having it, but I really recommend having on your bag is a tiny Tim. What is a tiny Tim, you ask? It is a tiny handsaw. And what you do with these, I mean, you could do a lot of things with these, honestly. I've used these to, when I didn't have my bandsaw or didn't have a saw and a pinch, I cut P-traps and things like that. But what I really use these for is cutting the bolts off of toilets, the toilet flanges. So definitely get yourself a little tiny Tim. My next tool that I recommend that you put on your bag is a pair of needle nose pliers. I got these sent to me for free by Konapex. Shout out to Konapex. Thank you so much. Again, you guys, these are awesome. You don't need it to get this brand, but I really recommend that you do. I mean, they're so great. They're really well made. This video is not sponsored. I'm just like fangirling over this brand. But you want to get a pair of needle nose pliers. They're super duper handy dandy. I haven't used them on my construction jobs just yet. However, I have used them when helping in service. Sometimes things get stuck in tight spaces and you can't fit your hand in there to get them, especially if it's like something important, like, I don't know, a ferrule or something small. You could reach in with your needle noses and just go ahead and pull it right out. You're gonna want to have in your bag or box or bucket or whatever it is that you choose to carry your tools in is a basin wrench. This one that I got is absolute trash. It's a little too cumbersome at the top to fit in things properly and doesn't grip very well. And another thing with it is it just goes down too far like this. If you're gonna get a basin wrench, like I said, you buy cheap, you buy twice, and that's just one of the lessons that I've had to learn with this guy. I'm gonna have to buy another one because this one sucks. Get yourself the Rigid brand. They sell them on Amazon. No, they don't sell them at Lowe's or Home Depot. I don't know why. They just don't. Get yourself the Rigid brand. Don't do the Lennox. Don't do whatever. You don't need the telescoping one that has the light on it. All you need is a basin wrench, and this is what they look like. Nothing fancy, but super handy when you're doing finish. Just a couple of little extra things that it's good to throw in your bag. Tin snips. Use these guys a lot. As you can see, they're a little beat up from the feet up. I got these from Harbor Freight for like $6. I mean, they've worked great so far. You can use these, you can use these on just a whole number of things, really. They're awesome. So get yourself a pair of tin snips and then a pair of just regular scissors as well. I use these a lot as well. One last thing in my bucket that I noticed, I wasn't going to mention it, but you know what? I think that it is necessary and it's not an expensive tool to buy, is a file. I've used this for so many different reasons and purposes, whether it's fixing up my tools, filing down the copper. As you can see, I still have some copper shavings on this guy, but I mean, yeah, get yourself a file, put it in your bucket. I think that I would recommend this as a tool that you're gonna need as an apprentice, because I use this one a lot. Anything that you happened to see in my bucket that I did not mention, don't worry about it. I will probably do another video later as to everything that goes in my bucket. As of right now, I have still a lot more things that I'm trying to add to it, but this video specifically for tools that you are going to 100% for sure need if you're starting out as a plumbing apprentice. All right, so we're moving on now to power tools. I don't have all of the power tools that I would necessarily say that you need as an apprentice. I will mention them. I'll mention what I do have, and I'll give the recommendations as to what you should get if I don't have it. Okay, the first tool that you're definitely gonna want to get is a drill. Well, this isn't a drill, this is an impact driver. I do recommend an impact driver, actually. I use this guy every single day. I mean, oh man, when I'm working construction, at least, not service, I use one of these guys every single day. I always have this guy on me. Get yourself an 18 volt or a 20 volt capacity impact driver and a drill. A drill is different than an impact driver. An impact driver makes like a hammering noise when you use it. What happens when you use it is when you're using it, it makes like a noise when it's basically driven the thing that it needs to drive into the wall, if that makes any sense. Whereas with a drill doesn't give you any sort of leeway. A drill will just keep going. Sorry, I got interrupted by a spam call. Anyways, so impact driver and a drill. I do have a drill. I just have a little 12 volt drill. Haven't used it a whole lot, just because like I said, I use my impact for a lot more. But when I do get a drill, I'm gonna get the Milwaukee M18 fuel, brushless, blah blah blah, their fancier one. But I do have their little 12 volt, and I have used it a handful of times, not a whole lot. It's gotten me out of the pinches that I've gotten myself into by not having a full sized drill, so it's been good for that at least. The next thing that you are 100% going to use a whole lot is a Sawzall. One of my foremen gave this to me. It's a little Milwaukee 12 volt hacksaw. These things are great. This one's awesome. It's super compact. The only thing about it is that it doesn't hold a lot of battery, and it doesn't have as much power as the M18. So if you get yourself a Sawzall, like I said, get yourself an 18 volt or 20 volt. Milwaukee doesn't have 20 volt batteries, but I'm talking about like if you were to get another tool brand, DeWalt, Rigid, they have like 20 volt size batteries, I believe. I know DeWalt does for sure, but yeah, get yourself a Sawzall. You'll be using that a lot. So just to recap, because I feel like I've been talking a lot about power tools and stuff: Sawzall, drill, impact driver, and also like a good little charging station. Milwaukee has these cool ones where it's like a dual charger. They also have rapid chargers and things like that, so I think that's awesome. I know that this was in the frame, but this is my bandsaw. You don't need a bandsaw to start, but I found that since I've had one, it's been super cool to have. I wouldn't worry so much about that though, more than I would worry about the other tools. So yeah. Anyways, I know I look crazy, like I said. Just coming home from work, I just wanted to put this little video together. It's probably a lot longer than I was anticipating it to be, but I hope that this has helped. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I know I look kind of crazy. I have just dirt and grime and stuff all over me just from coming home from work. Despite that, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful. Anybody out there that is hoping to get into the trades, get into the plumbing trade specifically, man or woman, I'm talking to you specifically, don't be intimidated about it. Go out, get your tools. Huge tip: get your tools before you apply for the job. It shows that you are serious about wanting to do it, that you're ready, that you're prepared, and the employer that you're speaking to will hopefully be a little bit more confident in wanting to put you out in the field because you're already ready. He or she will know that you're not going to burden the team by needing to borrow other people's tools, and that you have like a good baseline to start. Overall, I would say, and this is going to be like an ouch kind of number, $600. You're probably going to want at least $600 to start. A second tip that I mentioned a couple times in this video: buy cheap, buy twice. Don't skip out on getting yourself good quality tools just because the crappy quality tools are cheaper. Like, yeah, they look nice and shiny when they're new, but they will crap out on you. They won't hold battery. They'll break really easily. Do not buy cheap tools. Get yourself the right ones first. If you have any questions about the tools that I use, please, please, please ask me. My little brother came home with his friend and was just saying hi. Sorry about that. So like I said, buy cheap, buy twice. Get yourself quality tools. Probably about $600 or so to start, and that's if you get your hand tools and your power tools together. When I first started, I had like 0 power tools. I had my little 12-volt power tools, and I didn't even intend to buy those. I needed them, and it was just that's a whole story for another day. Anyways, if you were just gonna get your hand tools, probably about, like, I don't know, $300, maybe $200, $300. Power tools are kind of expensive, but altogether about $600, maybe even $800. It just depends on if you're buying everything brand new, if you're going to get it secondhand. Beware of secondhand tools. Make sure you're getting them from a quality buyer, and that they don't look too out of shape, and everything like that. And that's just for the tools themselves. The batteries are a whole other different charge. Anyways, I'm rambling now. Again, I hope you like this video. Become a plumber. You won't regret it. And get your tools before you go and apply for that job. All right, bye guys. I hope you have a super duper wonderful rest of your week or weekend. What day is it? It's Friday. Have a super great weekend, and I will hopefully, I've been trying to post, but hopefully see you guys next week.